Christian Horner's future is one of the hottest topics in Formula One right now, and it seems the British figure has two teams firmly on his radar. With Aston Martin already luring away top-tier Red Bull talent, big names like Adrian Newey and partners such as Honda, could they also be plotting a move for Horner himself? And more intriguingly, could this be the ultimate act of revenge against Red Bull, the team that left him high and dry after 2 decades of collaboration? Right now, there's a massive question mark over Horner's presence in the sport. While many fans are still reeling from the shock of his departure as Red Bull's team principal, others are already speculating about his next move. According to sources close to the paddock, 2 teams are seriously interested in acquiring his services: Aston Martin and Alpine. Both teams are on very different trajectories and have very different missions, which makes Horner's potential arrival a complicated affair. Yet either could secure the expertise of a man who, in the eyes of many, was treated unfairly by Red Bull. And let's be honest, there's nothing more dangerous in Formula One than a man on a mission in a new environment. So, let's break down both scenarios and see which one might suit him best. At this moment, Alpine appears to have the edge over Aston Martin in the Horner sweepstakes. The reason? Their current situation is dire. They are in desperate need of a proven leader. They need a championship winner, someone who knows exactly what it takes to drag a struggling team from the bottom of the ocean back to the surface. Let's not forget, during the turbohybrid era, Horner rebuilt Red Bull, secured a crucial partnership with Honda, and returned the team to winning ways with Max Verstappen as the spearhead. While the recent controversies surrounding him have undoubtedly left a mark on his career, they're not enough to keep him off the grid. Everyone in the paddock knows what Horner is capable of, and Alpine knows it too. This is a team that might welcome him with open arms, especially if he's willing to step in and steer a struggling operation back toward the front of the field. But what role would Horner be looking for at Alpine? According to his close friend Bernie Ecclestone, there's absolutely no way Horner would take on a standard team principal role. Instead, he'd be pushing for a more commanding position. And with Alpine rumored to be considering a partial sale of their operation, Horner could use that to his advantage. The catch: he doesn't appear to have the financial backing to do it alone. He'd need a partner. Still, given how persuasive Horner can be, if he finds that partner, Alpine might just grant him significant authority within the organization. If that happens, Alpine would suddenly be in a prime position to claw their way back to the midfield battle and eventually challenge the top teams. Because no matter what shadows have been cast over Horner's career, one fact remains: he is a master at managing and fighting for his drivers. And now, with something to prove to the entire F1 world, he'd be determined to show that he's still the same cunning strategist who knows the sport better than the back of his own hand. Ecclestone elaborated further on Horner's options, saying, "I think there's more chance of Lewis winning his 8th title than Horner becoming Alpine's CEO. I don't know how and where, or even whether, he wants to return to the championship. He probably doesn't want to because the position he really wanted at Red Bull was to own part of the team. Unless he gets somebody to put up the money to buy a team, I can't see it happening." And Bernie has a point. Being CEO is a very different challenge, especially for Horner in his current situation. But just because Horner wants part ownership in Formula One doesn't necessarily mean he's aiming for a CEO role. And let's not forget, he's also close friends with Flavio Briatore, who has recently returned to Alpine in his own controversial fashion. If Horner and Briatore were to collaborate, Flavio's influence could be a key factor in making it happen. A similar view comes from F1 pundit Martin Brundle, who believes Horner's Red Bull experience is simply too valuable to ignore, and that it has shaped him into someone who wouldn't accept a step down. Brundle explained, "Christian wanted full control of what he felt he'd created in Red Bull, in the best interests of the team, in a fast-moving, highly specialized business. I rather suspect he's overplayed his hand." Once the support of the 51% Uvidia family fell away, Red Bull's Austrian HQ parked him at the first opportunity. Given other events since Bahrain last year, especially regarding Max Verstappen's uniquely powerful father, Jos, it was game over. I'd be pretty sure Christian will be back sooner rather than later, this time with some ownership and control. Still, not everyone in Alpine is convinced. Pierre Gasly, who worked under Horner during his short-lived Red Bull stint in 2019 before being demoted after just 13 races, might not be eager to welcome him. Yet even Gasly acknowledged Horner's undeniable talent. When you've got that number of championships in 20 years, you can only respect the success. And what he's done with Red Bull Racing, it's remarkable and very impressive. I'm sure we'll see him somewhere. Teams will be interested in Christian. Even though Alpine seems like the favorite, it's not a done deal. Aston Martin is also making noise, snapping up big names like Newey, Andy Cowell, Enrico Cardell, and most importantly, Honda. That kind of ambition suggests Lawrence Stroll would absolutely pursue Horner's signature if the opportunity arose. Stroll has a track record of going after the biggest names whenever they become available. But here's where things get tricky. Newey, Red Bull's former chief aerodynamicist, is now Aston Martin's technical partner. Given that Horner was one of the primary reasons Newey left Red Bull, thanks to the internal power struggles, would Newey even entertain the idea of working alongside him again? Collaborating with the same person who was tied to so much internal drama might be a hard sell. The general consensus is that Horner is far more likely to join Alpine than Aston Martin, mainly because of his complicated history with Newey. That said, their relationship might not be entirely fractured. Journalists have noted that the two attended an Oasis concert together, and Newey is even godfather to one of Horner's children. On the other hand, Horner was also spotted having lunch with Breiter in London, which only adds to the mystery. Ultimately, Horner hasn't publicly revealed what he's looking for in his next role. Rumors of him seeking an FIA position were quickly dismissed. He's not the kind of man who wants to be buried in administrative work. He thrives on being in the thick of the action, battling it out with team principals and owners, and proving he can rebuild another team that isn't called Red Bull. So, the big question remains, what's next for Christian Horner? And where will we see him land after his 20-year tenure with the Austrian squad? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're at it, click the video appearing on your screen now for more F1 insights you won't want to miss.